What's up guys, welcome to 𝗗𝗢𝗣𝗙𝗙, and today I'm going to be showing you the producer template that I've been using. If you do end up enjoying the video, make sure you do hit that sub button and turn post notifications on because it does help it a lot. So let's just hop right into it. Alright, so let's get started, and pretty much I want to chop this up so you can click the parts that you want, but what I want to talk about now is velocity and samples because I think people overlook this a lot. So I'll just play the beat. I'll leave a link in the description or comments if you missed the last video. But we made this in the last video, and this is just the outro structure for that vid. Okay, and I've taken off all the effects just so we can see it before and after. So the velocity and samples. So what I like to do personally, now how other people do things is, you know, it may work for them, but for me, for consistency, I do not like to have my 808s blasting like this, right? I like them fairly stable. Like if it's a little bit, that's fine, but you know, some people, they just blast it where it looks like this. I don't think it should look like this. I think it should be somewhere moderate, but I usually like having mine like this, and that should be consistent throughout all your sounds. Okay, and this is for consistency with your mixes. Now with my low end kick and 808, due to the genre that I make, and probably 90% of genres out there, people love low end and that punch. So I usually crank up the velocity to 100. I think it's 100. Okay, and it gets very punchy that way. But if you see, if we had it like this, it's just completely distorted. It's not even the same sound now. So that, just something like that could be messing up your mixes. And this for my drums, I'm very selective. You know, I kind of just raise it up. I don't just put everything up to 100 because, you know, I just kind of listen to how it sounds. And I should probably, I'll just leave it. But yeah, I'm gonna just show you that. We don't got to spend too much time. As you can see, these aren't the same velocity, right? Because I'm mixing them in together, blending them, right? Because they're layered, as you can see. Yeah, you can see my hi-hats, I mess with the velocity. Oh, wait. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so that is the velocity and samples, so pay attention to that. So now what we're going to do is go into the mixer, and I'll show you how to set up the template. All right, so we're going to start with our drums. Now this is the most important part, in my opinion. I think drums make or break a beat, right? If it's mixed, or if the melody is good but the drums don't hit, it's a trash beat. Okay, so for beginners, real quick, as you can see, there are no plugins. Okay, there's EQ, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but there are no plugins on my actual drums. Now what I see a lot of beginners do is they watch a tutorial, they watch a producer make a beat, and they say, oh wow, look at his chain, look at all these plugins, and they think they need to go and add that. Don't get me wrong, plugins do help if you want a specific sound, if you want to control your sounds a specific way, but you have to understand, these people have been producing for years. They've been studying this stuff. They know exactly what tools they want to use to get a specific sound and how to tweak those plugins, right? If you don't know how to do that, you're usually going to just mess up your beat, right? Even if you copy it exactly. Okay, so what I would recommend is you learn how to mix without plugins. I tell people that all the time. Learn how to mix without even using plugins, by just adjusting the faders or your gain or velocity, however you want to do it. Okay, so that's out the way. So mono, who cares about that? Mono, just, you know, you could do mono, whatever you want to do, but this 808 I put in mono. So for my 808, the EQ, I just boosted the high to get some of that like buzz in there, just so it stood out a little bit better. That's all I did there. Okay, and this is just little things you can do. And for my drums, not all of them, but this one specifically, I wanted it to be a little crisper. Okay, just a little bit more clear and punch through that low end of the 808. Okay, because with rap, it's a very low end based genre, so that is why you kind of boost the clarity by boosting the high end. Okay, you can see on the other drums, I didn't really do anything else. Okay, and that is kind of the setup, and of course you can add compressors, whatever you like, if you know what you're doing. So now to really solidify this, everything except the low end, so 808 and kick, if I had one, you kind of just put them to the side. So your drums, your snare, hi-hat, claps, open hats, you would hold control and click, or whatever DAW you use. You want to put these drums Okay, and I'll just color them. So, you know, we do like color like this. We put these into a bus, and then you hover over the empty track, right click, go to track routing, route selects this track only, and every drum should be linked here except your low end, so kick and 808. Okay, now on this exact bus, and I should probably change the color of all this. Let's do a color we don't have. Let's do like a green, and let's make this green a little bit darker. Something like that. Okay, on this bus, okay, I boosted the highs. You can use an EQ, whatever you want to use, but I just like being lazy, so I just boosted the highs so we have that clarity again. Okay, and then one thing that you can quickly do is use a transient processor, right? So what this will do is pretty much clear up your drums. So I'll just show you exactly what it does. So if we turn these on, it'll just decrease the decay. So pretty much what it's doing is a transient processor it's either letting it's boosting this tail end of the sample, or it's decreasing it like this. That's pretty much what it's doing. Okay, and this is how you get that bounce and that crispiness of your drums, right? So if I reset it, pretty much it will look something like this first. So basically I pull this down so it's sharper, and I boost the attack a little bit, and then I just boost the release somewhere in between these two knobs, and I'll show you the difference. Oh wait, I gotta turn it on. I'll turn that off so we can talk about that later. And you can see how every part of the sound is very loud, but if we, right, so I think a healthy area is somewhere right here. Okay, and then I just recently added the chorus. This is to kind of widen them. So this is just a default setting. Literally, I just opened it and it's like this. It just widens the drum slightly. And then I just turned it down so it's not too heavy. Okay, and that is pretty much it for the drums. And you just let it play. You could choose mono if you like that for your 808. And you are done. Okay, and that's pretty much the setup for the drums. And I'll probably give a template FLP for this. I'll probably, like, I guess, neutralize it so you can just add your stuff in here. But yeah, so now we're gonna move on to the melody. So let's do that. All right, so we're gonna start our melody. So I don't want this to be too long, but these are exceptions. These are just extra sounds that you would normally mix, you know, add your effects, right? So we have this reverse. I added 𝗲𝗓 room to put it in space. And then I just EQ'd the lows and highs, the frequencies I did not like. Okay, so that would let's. Okay, and that is just this whole melody reverse. Our bass boosted some lows. You know, this is just quick stuff. It's just a bell, took out some lows, some highs to contain it, and I messed up my leveling, but it's all right. So for the vocal, I'm here, just added this to just give it some character so it's not super dry. And then 𝗲𝗓 room. Now the reason to use this is to put your sounds in space so they're not all like at the same level. And then I'll show it dry. Oops. Okay, and I took out some of those highs so that we can have the drum shine a little bit more and some of these melodies won't clash with it. Okay. So now the good part. So usually this is set for a guitar. So all of this is specifically made for a guitar, but it does work for other sounds like this bell. So what I like to do is pretty much send this signal to empty, or I guess inserts that have effects on them. So how you do that is you will route it to this track. So in FL, you can right click, route to track, and it'll route it. Okay. Or you can just click this if you want to be fast. Okay. And I don't usually have it that strong. Okay, so on this track itself, this is an EQ for a guitar. So I just boost the highs, take out a little bit of lows, and this is what the preset that I use for this. Okay, and this is just to kind of give it that detuned effect. Okay, so oops. Okay. So first effect, so these first two is I pan one to the left and right, and pretty much I boost the highs That's why I call it twinkle. So on this side, and they have the same preset here. You can see, cut some of the lows, right? You can copy this, I don't care. Even if it's in a pack, you can copy the preset, don't care. And I'll just show you what it does. Okay, nothing super crazy. Again, this is made for a guitar, so it's not the same exact frequencies that we're dealing with. So let's go to this one, and you can really hear it in this one. Okay, these are just for quick effects. I don't always use this. It's just if I need access to it. So ambience, this is pretty self-explanatory, just to kind of just put it in space. So we have shimmer, volume room at max. Take out some of the lows so it's not too muddy. And again, on and off. And this is all without manipulating the actual sound itself. Okay, so now we have reverse. So it's boosted like this because that is where, for the guitar that I had, this is where that reverse sound usually would play. So like that kind of like swoop. So this is shaper box reverse. And then I'll play this. So you hear that little swoop, this is where that frequency is at. So that's why I have it boosted there, okay? And then halftime, pretty self-explanatory. Took out some of the lows. I probably didn't take out enough, but just halftime, right? You can use gross beat, whatever you use. And usually it makes a nice dynamic. You don't have to add too many notes to your melody because it'll just fill in some stuff. Okay, and that is pretty much the setup, okay, for the melodies. And then now we can move on to the master, which is super simple. All right, so for the master, this is going to be really quick. It's very simple. Now you can add plugins, mastering plugins, all that stuff if you want to. But I feel like a lot of that is overkill nowadays because you don't really need to do it. It's just if you want to, okay? So for this, basically the first thing I do is I add a soft clipper, okay? And this should be at the bottom, okay? Because it goes from top to bottom in order of effects, right? So you want this at the below any effects you have in between, okay? So add this. So how this starts off is like this, okay? So what you want to do is you look in the top corner up here, you see it's at -4 pretty much. So what the ratio I like to use is multiply that number by 3 and we'll get somewhere around -12, okay? And that is usually a good ratio to kind of crunch everything together where it's not too, like, you know, that compressed sound, it's not too compressed, and this will make your low end sound good. And this is what gives the 808 that like saturated sound, okay? I might pull it back a bit. Now for the post gain, if you want that -3 dB stuff, whatever, put it at 79% or like 78, and it'll pretty much crunch it down, okay? All right, and then after that, I would add an EQ and boost according to how I want it to sound, right? So if I think it's crispy enough, I won't really touch much, but if I think it's not, I'll boost where you think it, or take it away. Right, you can start playing around with EQ, and I do an overall EQ, just slight, and that's pretty much it. And you can add other effects that you want, but that's pretty much it, the template. I'll probably leave an FLP of a clean version of this so that you can just kind of add your own sounds and it won't like mess up your stuff. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.